Hey, in today's episode, we're going to talk about some great resources that can help develop you professionally. There's a group of senior leaders that will help develop you, mentor you, coach you, train you on various aspects, and you can ask any question you want to in a safe zone. You just have to be polite, respectful, and be open-minded. So I will put descriptions below and the name of these down below in the description. And if you get an opportunity, please hit the subscribe button, leave us a comment about this subject or something you'd like to see in the future. And thanks. As always, this is sponsored by mentormilitary.com. Enjoy the show. Team, welcome to another episode of Ask Top, sponsored by mentormilitary.com. I am your host, Command Sergeant Major Retired Mark Garrett, and today we got a special treat. We've got team members from many different communities on Facebook that are designed to help our brothers and sisters in arms. And I'm going to go around the room and ask them to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about themselves. Let's start with Sergeant Major Tyrone Cooper.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sergeant Major Tyrone Cooper. I am an admin for Iron Diamonds. With Iron Diamonds, we're geared more towards Master Sergeant to Sergeant Major population. We try to do mentorship through discussing different topics. I've been in the Army now for 24 years, and I look forward to everything that we're going to be bringing to you all here. Thank you.
First Sergeant Retired Harold Smith.
Good afternoon, good morning, what time of the day it is where you're located. Like Sergeant Major said, I am First Sergeant Retired Harold Smith. I recently retired in 2018. I am a former logistician, 92 Alpha by trade. I am the creator and lead admin for the NCO support forum. And just like Sergeant Major Cooper, we started off as trying to be a senior leaders group, but quickly learned that the information that we were providing would be essential for younger leaders growing up and using it as a mentor bridge between the junior leaders and senior leaders. We've grown exponentially over the years. Pretty proud of the growth that we've had, but we don't necessarily have a particular topic that we hit on. We allow our members to come on, discuss the relevancy of things that are affecting the formations today, and get some insight from different leaders from their foxhole, how they're looking at it, and hopefully we could be able to make a stronger and more intelligent NCO force.
Cool. Master Sergeant Christy, and I'm not even going to try.
It's Eichelberger, sir.
Eichelberger.
Yes, sir. So I'm one of the many admins of 3 Anns, and we are an all-female group. We started off as just NCOs, but we're starting slowly to allow lower enlisted and some officers. And if you end up going officer or retired, we still allow you to be in the group. And within the group, we're geared towards mentoring females that aren't able to get that mentorship outside of where they need to be. And I also am a moderator of the Signal networking group as well. So we have a variety of different things that we offer. It doesn't have to be a specific topic. It could be from ACFT, PT, personal, professional. So whatever questions are out there, we tend to touch on all points. And we guide the group into where we want it to be professional, but at the same time where we can be open and get those questions out there. And we also have it to where you can post anonymous questions if you don't want to be known, so people will come at you in a different light. And then you can get all aspects of answers and within mentorship and things like that. And I also can have the other 2 females to touch more on what 3 Anns can do on their point of view as well.
Awesome. And Sergeant First Class Green, coming to us from Baumholder, Germany, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. From Sergeant First Class Zeppeli Green. I'm here in Baumholder, Germany. I'm a 92 Alpha. I currently work with 16th Sustainment Brigade as the SPO Distribution FUOPS NCOIC. I am one of the moderators for 3ANS. I actually started receiving mentorship from 3ANS when I was a sergeant. And so now as a Sergeant First Class, that particular forum means a lot to me because it helps me to grow. It continues to allow me to grow. There are several soldiers that I mentor through that group, whether it's MOS related. I'm also dual military, so dealing with things like issues like family care plans and different things like that. I've been a single parent as well, so like child care and just a bunch of different topics. And as previously mentioned, we're comprised of officers, warrant officers, and enlisted soldiers. So oftentimes we're able to pair people that want to cross over, whether it's green or gold, or whether it's going the warrant officer route, we're able to pair them up. So 3ANS across the board is just a growing forum, but it's a wealth of information and a wealth of knowledge, and we have everyone from sergeants, majors to lieutenant colonels and on. So that's my take on 3ANS.
Master Sergeant Fourier, you're muted, I believe.
I am. I'll figure this out eventually. So I'm Master Sergeant Fortier, first name James, but I typically go by Jimmy. I am currently the lead admin for the ACFT training community, and our community is focused on improving everyone's ability to adapt and improve their scores and capabilities when it comes to ACFT, fitness in general, nutrition, and I've been trying to incorporate more of the holistic aspect of the ACFT, or actually the 7-22, in terms of mental health, and I'm trying to address some issues there as well, and I'm trying to bring that to the forefront of the conversation. So beyond that, I am happy to be here.
Outstanding. And Sergeant Kendra Ford. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Sergeant First Class Kendra Ford. I am one of the admins of 3ANS. I believe my two partners have really much touched base on what we are able to provide in the platform. I just say I think it's a safe space for females, especially young females who may not feel comfortable with articulating their thoughts to their leadership, that they just have an environment where they're able to speak. I'm a senior career counselor here at 1AD DeVarty. I am also the CEO of Drunk Driving Prevention Program, which is a nonprofit program we have for military installations to end drunk driving on all military installations. So.
Outstanding. Team, I'm glad to have you here. I discovered Iron Diamonds just by happenstance on Facebook. And when I talked to Charmaine, I was just like, holy crap, got a great group of people with a lot of knowledge, and we need to share that. So hopefully we'll get some information out today that'll get more people to come to your sites that you can share that valuable information with. I'd like to start out with something light. If we can go in the same order we just went, if that's okay with everybody. Tell me something, what nickname or call sign have you been given by your soldiers? Everybody got a nickname. Come on, Tyrone.
No, I'm really trying to think about it. For the most part, no special unique nicknames. As far as with people that I'm close to, as far as brothers and sisters in arms, of course, I'm just simply Ty, but no call signs.
Okay. First Sergeant Smith?
I think I've grown affectionate to being called Top, but nobody really calls me that in that group. We kind of just keep it, kind of casual and respectful, so there's really no call signs. And normally if they even know who you are, they will address you by your proper rank. But we've never really established any call signs inside of the group. But personally, if you know me, my name is, they call me Duke. That's my family and friends who know me. That's what they call me. But outside of that, nothing else.
Okay. Christy?
My last name is Eichelberger. Being that it's so long, they refer to me as Ike. And the name seems somewhat fitting, not in a bad way, but because I'm very passionate. It can be aggressive or to the point when I'm mentoring my soldiers. And then once my immediate soldiers get to know me, they'll call me Mama Bear, because I'm more of I'm very protective of my soldiers. But within the military forum, we're very we don't mind calling each other by our first names, but most will still call you by your rank and name. And then once I have like one-on-one mentorship and get to know them, it could be a first name basis and stuff like that. But more likely it's Master Ike.
Outstanding. Sergeant Green?
Within the form, everyone usually either, my first name is very hard, of course, is Zephyrly. So sometimes if we're addressing each other, it goes Z, or it's either Sergeant First Class Green. Most of my soldiers, they call me the 92 Alpha, and the reason being, once you're around me, I'm like 92 awesome all the way, 92 Alpha. I'm that logistician, and I try to encourage them to be the same way and take pride in their job. So I'm always like, hey, what's your points? But like, what's this? Because Alphas is kind of hard with staff sergeant, things like that. So that's what they call me, because I love the SSA, the motor pool, the whole nine. When it comes to my job, I actually love it, and I love mentoring.
And James?
So I'm pretty informal on the page itself. So I mean, some people might notice I'm at the academy based on what they can see, and so people will call me Sergeant Major once in a blue moon. I try to keep it very informal because I want everyone from the lowest levels on that page to be able to speak without feeling intimidated by other people's ranks. I've actually muted people and removed them from the page when they try to use their rank on the page. That's not what it's about. It's about improving and getting better and opening the community up to open discussion and respect should go. It doesn't matter what your rank is. So beyond that, personal, a lot of my friends call me Jimmy. Or James, so no nicknames that I have at this point.
Kendra?
Well, Mama Ford is what mainly they call me in my unit, because if there's a problem and the problem solver, I like to read regs and kind of just educate myself on a lot of different things. So if there's problems that people need assistance with, they'll either come to me or leadership will send them to me, and like Mama Ford can fix it. So in the group, as they stated, we really are pretty informal. Most people just call me Kendra in the group overall.
Well, I'll share with you mine. If you didn't see it on my signature block, it's Worf. And if you're familiar with Star Trek, there's a Klingon there, and he's got a big vein in his head. And my soldiers would tell me when I got irritated, there's a vein that would pulse in my forehead. So they said as soon as they saw the vein pulsing, they'd be like, we better get that answer quick. So that's mine. You guys have already pretty much covered the importance of your communities, but do you have anything to add about that? Anybody? I know you talked about the mentoring aspect and stuff like that, but is there anything you want people to know?
Well, I'll touch on Iron Diamonds. So, I mean, with Iron Diamonds, it was in Master Sergeant Raina who came up with the concept of Iron Diamonds. And, I mean, she came to me with the idea of, it's almost like trying to basically virtually bridge the gap that is now missing in NCOPDS. Back when you did have a first sergeant course, of course, we know that doesn't, no longer exist. So in this community, our sole focus is bringing in those seniors, master sergeants, first sergeants, because no one is, should I say, professionally taught how to be a first sergeant. So here we have lessons learned where other first sergeants can collaborate, share tools, discuss anything. The whole purpose of it is to be a safe space for first sergeants to, whether they want to vent their frustrations, share resources, discuss problems that they're having, and then have other seniors chime in to get the assistance they need. And then better yet, when you have more experienced sergeant majors, we can turn around and feed that information to them directly. They can ask questions that otherwise in other forums they may be embarrassed to ask. So that's the whole purpose of Iron Diamonds. So I'm glad that then my son Raina had came up with that concept, and I am definitely glad to be a part of supporting that.
Anybody else?
Yeah, for myself, as Jimmy, I think that for the ACFT page, one of the biggest things that I try to encompass with that as well is trying to mentor people. I think there's something that's uniquely parallel in all these communities that from ones I've seen. I'm trying to be more involved with Iron Diamonds in terms of mentorship as well. I've been a first sergeant, and so for me it is number one how you interact with people and how you dialogue with people. I think that's a lost skill set, especially in the days these days of social media where people tend to not communicate very well or communicate in ways that are unprofessional or in ways that create hostility. And so one of the main things I've seen across all these pages, and I know that I try to do on my page, is that I try to instill respect and positivity in terms of if you're going to comment, be constructive. And be respectful. And so I think that's something that across all these communities you'll find is unique compared to other pages on Facebook.
Well, all of you are hitting on the same thing. It's a safe space. And when I look at, I won't name them, but other platforms, you see a lot of seniors chime in with their rank and with, hey, your unpositive comments, I should say. So, First Sergeant Smith, I think you chimed in with something, or we're going to?
I did, but I think Sergeant Major Cooper and Sergeant Major, I'm sorry, James, I mispronounced your name. I don't want to mispronounce your name, but first of all, Sergeant Major Cooper hit it on the head as far as a safe space. I think that's what my vision was when I created the group, was to give NCOs an opportunity. I think what I noticed, and the reason why I created it, was I often saw a lot of NCOs falling victims to ideologies about how a particular person may see something, and that's the only way it can be done. And so being able to share those thoughts with others and just say, hey, this is what we're doing at our unit. Is there another way? Is there a better way? What lessons learned? How we learned throughout the course of our time that may be beneficial to other formations. And I thought that was great to get to share ideas. I mean, just to watch younger NCOs learning from older people about the different types of things like PT, the different variations of PT that they can do, because they get into the same rut of back when I was in anyway, it was the push-up, sit-up, run, and that's the only thing they felt that they could do, and they said, I have a soldier that's struggling in a particular area. What can I do? And that forum was able to just give them a plethora, wealth of information, things of what other NCOs and other formations that were doing that could be able to help those soldiers in those ways, and being able to say, because they didn't feel comfortable bringing those issues to their leaderships in their own formation. So being able to come to a safe place where you sometimes you can be anonymous because they'll give you a screen name that you may not necessarily know what it is, but it gave them a safe space to be able to say, hey, this is what's going on in my unit. What can I do to add, or what can I do to improve, or what ideas can you share with me to be able to grow as an NCO and how I can be a benefit to my organization.
Outstanding. Anyone else?
I just like to say what I love about the new changes we've made to 3A&S is that we allow junior soldiers in. And I think that that's important because we're able to cultivate them and help them to prepare to become NCOs. I think it's builds on what they already learn in their units. And like I said earlier, maybe questions that they just don't feel comfortable, or they may be embarrassed, or that they feel like because people may feel like because they've been at VLC that they may know. But our forum provides that opportunity from an officer perspective, from a senior NCO perspective, from that mid-level leader's perspective also, just to give them that boost to help them prepare them so that when they do become non-commissioned officers, they're able to be more effective in the Corps.
Outstanding. What are some of the topics you discuss within your respective communities, and how do you moderate these discussions? Anyone?
I can answer for like the Signal Leaders Network. Most of the topics are what type of certifications is everyone holding? Do you have a degree in Signal as well? And we share information of getting those different certifications within our jobs, whether it be military jobs or civilian jobs, because that's going to place us to be marketable into doing our jobs as far as the Signal Leaders Network. As far as the 3 ANS, it's a plethora of topics between getting married, having children, family care plan, getting promoted. So in the female group, you know, growing up as a soldier or coming up in the ranks as a soldier, I never really directly went to seek leadership. So being within this group, I can see the leadership and the mentorship being provided. So it guided me what I can do next and where I can go next in an actual virtual form, because I would just sit there and watch other leaders, whether it be female or male, and be like, okay, I want to be like that, or I don't want to be like that. So I will mimic or not mimic those that I wanted to be like. So being in these forums, I can read the different messages and to moderate the messages. I don't like to say, well, I feel. It's not about what you feel. It's what is by the regs and black and white and based on experience that I like to show these soldiers or teach these different leaders. Whether they be right or wrong, I try to be somewhat not political, but show them how they're putting the information out in the wrong way or portraying it in a different light where it can be shown to where people can understand it from a different point of view. So we try to moderate on that sense. We want to be professional, but at the same time, we want people to be open to where they can come back and ask more questions later and not see it as an unsafe place.
All right, let's move to Jimmy.
For me, I think, you know, just going back to the question again. So, you know, what, if I'm remembering correctly, like what do we do in terms of moderating certain discussions? And so I think that most of our discussions are pretty political. So some of those things aren't really an issue for the most part. Part of our rules is that we don't get political. We don't get into those things because they have nothing to do with fitness. And so I think the biggest struggle we have in terms of some of these things is the positivity part, right? We have people will go and then chime and they're there to troll. And I will engage, typically, you know, I or one of my other admins or moderators will engage those behaviors. And, you know, if it's borderline, we try to steer it and mentor those people into creating positive comments or constructive comments, or they leave the page. And you know, that's we either mute them or remove them and block them from the page. I have a zero tolerance for certain things. We've had certain, as we've seen, you know, recently with Sisterhood and other places, where you have males who think that because they're male, they get to say what they want to our female in the community. And the fact that we actually have about 25% of our community that's female, and I know it doesn't exactly, a lot of training things don't necessarily always fit the female members. The fact that we have 25% and rising membership, you know, which is above the 18 or so percent of the Army's representation of female community, I think says something about the space we create. And so many of my moderators and admins are females and female leaders. And so, and that's just because of the fact that they have a lot of skills and experience that they can bring to the table. And I think that helps also show the members that, you know, that isn't just about, you know, the males there that know everything, you know. So I think that overall, our community does a good job of staying on track, staying on point. And when necessary, you just turn off the commenting and delete what you need to keep that same frame of mind as positive. So,
all right, Sergeant Green.
So another thing that I absolutely love about 3ANS is like the on-the-spot advice. There's times, especially with the new changes with AR 670-1, especially for females, it's like, let me take a picture of my hair. Is this authorized? You know, is this nail color authorized? Is this shape okay? And because there are people in different locations, like it's that automatic feedback. Also, as an admin, what we try to do, we have the group rules, but if someone violates those rules, we still try to provide mentorship. We inbox them. Sometimes, correction has to come, whether it's immediately on the forum within the comment section, but most of the time, we'll try to have that side conversation like, hey, this is where you were off track, or hey, this is where you went wrong, or this is why you're being muted. And sometimes, honestly, people don't know. And that gives that leeway, like, okay, it wasn't a down my throat, go stand in a corner type thing. It was a way to coach, teach, and mentor, and it's a way to always give back. I've been mentoring some people on there that are now starting first classes with me, and they were like, I want to be like you. Nope, be better. The way you feel now, be the leader you wish you had. So it's always that opportunity to, again, mentor. There's also another aspect of 3ANS where we actually have it where you can go up and sign for a mentor. So you can put your MOS, you can put what type of mentor you're looking for, and then there's people who volunteer to be mentors. So it literally matches you up with someone that kind of fits what you need. So again, there's the conversations go from everything, again, as previously mentioned, from family care plan to being a safe space, and again, to on the spot feedback. So that's like one of the things that I really love about 3ANS.
All right, Harold?
Thank you. For us, I think it's more, we're not an admin-like led group as far as the topics are concerned. We kind of open the floor for everyone to be able to share. We do currently have 8 moderators. I think we do a great job of trying to keep the information and keep the flow of the topics respectful and relevant as much as we possibly can. The topics range from everything, and I like just like Sergeant Green had just stated. Right now, one of the big topics was to change AR 670-1. So a lot of the topics came in about that. But normally, the admins do not spearhead topics. We want our community to feel like everyone belongs and everybody has an equal say in what discussions that we have. And of course, sometimes some of these threads take a life of their own, and it makes it very tough to moderate, especially when you're talking about, I don't know, last time I counted was like 20 something. I don't really know how many we have anymore. I don't keep up with it, but it's hard to moderate when someone's hiding behind a handle and you don't really know a whole lot about the individual. Like many of them said before, we use muting tactics to be able to take some time to give some positive reinforcements, kind of coach that person saying, hey, this is not what we're trying to go, this is not what we're trying to do, and try to give that young NCO and sometimes older NCO some boost of encouragement of saying, hey, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to get this message across, okay? And we're trying to keep those snide comments and those comments that kind of can make the thread shift in a different direction that we don't want it to go. So to answer that question, there's just a range of topics. I think it's more of what's relevant right now. I think some of the main topics we hear about are people inquiring about duty stations. I'm PCS into this particular place. What's housing like, or what's this unit like, and all that. So I hear a lot of that, and as well as some of the doctrinated changes that are happening in the Army and keeping things abreast and making sure that everyone is aware, of what the changes are, and then being able to get some of those senior leaders in there to be able to explain. I think that's what I like about it the most, is you have a lot of members that are in positions that are actually affecting change, as far as making doctrine and things like that. And or you have someone at the Sergeant Major's Academy. I'm at the academy. I can tell you what's being, what's being taught or what's being said or so much like that. So that's one thing I like about it. But as far as topics, general topics, we are open to just about anything Army related or military related, for that matter.
All right, Tyrone.
With Iron Diamonds, with a lot of the topics are more come from the members. There are some topics that we do introduce, depending on what's going on that we would like to get input on from the other members. That's the reason why Iron Diamonds is a little bit more unique. Many of the points that all the other members or the admins here are discussing, we definitely use those same tools, whether it's like the muting, basically trying to moderate and keep everyone civil. But we gear Iron Diamonds specifically to seniors for that reason. So one of the biggest points of contention that we've received is, why do you not let first sergeants in? Because they don't realize that for whatever reason, if they were not to make hard strike first sergeant per se, they move somewhere else, there would be a sergeant first class. So we make one standard and we keep to that standard. It's also another reason why we've been very finicky when it comes to retirees. I've seen other pages where retirees, they have good intentions and they mean well, but they give advice based off a doctrine from 5-10 years ago that's not relevant today. And it's not trying to say anything bad about their service, they just do not know. Right now, in this current time, information changes like this. We can all remember back in the day when an AR was changed and they actually sent out the books.
Yep.
And then eventually they went to like a CD, and then we had to go to the publication place to get it all printed out, and everybody had those big old binders. Now updates come at the speed of click. Just like we've seen with these latest changes with AR 670-1, I swear it was like a week when there's like, you can only have this certain post earring, it has to be round, it can't be square, pencils cut, and everybody was sitting there jumping on that topic, and then like a week later, it was changed doctrine just that quick. So that's another reason why we stick to active duty. We try to also stick to objectivity. It's what we want these senior leaders to know is you're taking that step from being that first line leader as far as being an operational leader, and it's time for you to step up to think about organization as a whole. We keep stressing this to them no matter what. It's no longer about you. You're supposed to be gearing up and preparing these younger NCOs to take your place. So no more get out of your feelings, basically. We want them to stick to doctrine and give like good advice and good mentorship and guidance to their soldiers and to their junior leaders. So that's really what Iron Diamonds is all about. The other piece, because we do keep the population very strict, we also have a lot of good senior, well-versed sergeant majors who come in, and they will drop gems in our forum that they will not publish anywhere else. And we give them that respect that we will not copy and paste it anywhere else. They can speak their mind. So we'll be getting a lot of good information that helps all of us, heck, myself included. So we all learn from one another, and that's why we call it Iron Diamonds. We all sharpen one another and make sure we stay good and sharp.
Outstanding. Next question. What are the most, or name one of the most challenging situations you've faced as mentors and coaches? Kendra?
The most challenging things that I notice is how to articulate to young soldiers that just because you put it in this form doesn't mean it will not affect your career. And articulating that importance of knowing that you may not know who knows someone, you may not know who, speaking to your target audience, right? When you speak and when you put something in this group, we try to keep a controlled space where we have a rule where there's no screenshots and there's no information that should be pushed on. Sometimes these things happen. So when it comes time to, I want to say that Sergeant Green spoke on how we have to kind of steer some people back in the right direction. Sometimes it can get out of hand, and sometimes it can cause problems for them that we try to articulate to them in the group of be careful. Yes, this is a safe space, but you still have a career that you have to maintain. And if you would not say it to your unit, you probably shouldn't name your unit and name people by names in the group. And you should probably be mindful or use hypotheticals, or that's why we created the anonymous post so that it wouldn't put people's career at risk. I see that in our group. I see it in some other groups as well, where it goes back to units. and then there's nothing that we can do to save that person, because they may have had good intentions, but how it's received on the other end, we can't control. So I think that's one of the biggest things that I see.
Tyrone.
I think one of the toughest time periods for us in Iron Diamonds was definitely last year, for 2020, with the elections and everything that was going on. It was really tough for us to try to ensure that leaders, stay apolitical. And I mean, everybody kind of, once again, get caught up in their feelings, and not saying that they're not free to feel the way that they feel. But our main thing that we're trying to stress to them is ensuring that they are expressing the right things to their subordinates and to their junior leaders, and ensuring that they're not coloring the way that they actually treat them based off of their politics. So, I mean, that's one of the things that we had to sit there and stress. And of course, no matter how someone's political views may be, no matter what, they have to be mindful of their position as being a representative of this country, more or less, as a service member. And what they say matter. Words matter. So you have to be careful of what they say and how they say it, because it could be second, third order effects.
Harold?
I agree with everything that's been said so far. I think that one thing that I've noticed was, I thought challenging, was how some folks would misinterpret information and take that information because they're not fully understanding, and then want to take that and try to attack someone else with it by going to IG or notifying the chain of command and those types of things. And I just found that very challenging. I was like, you had an opportunity to talk to this person. This was a forum where you could actually ask the questions to get better clarification, but instead, because they didn't really fully understand the content or the context in which the person was saying it, they used that as an opportunity to say, you know what, I'm gonna call your person, I'm gonna call your sergeant major, I'm gonna notify IG on you. And it's like, let's take a moment, let's find out exactly what the person meant. Maybe we misunderstood, and there have been some cases where we did have to, I hate to say it, but go back and say, hey, this person, it's either been something that's been normative, it's been racist, or it's been sexist, or in that kind of arena, where we're saying, you know what, if this person is saying this in this form, how is this being conveyed to his or her soldiers? And so we kind of want that chain of command to know, hey, this is the kind of intel that you have inside of your formation, and based on some of the things that he or she is saying. But I think we did a great job is kind of quelling that a little bit, is not being so quick to, because we've gotten to this cancel culture in which we live in now, we're so quick to try to eliminate someone because they don't agree with what we may be doing or what we said. So I think Sergeant Major Cooper made a great point on that, especially last year. And we're all free to have our own way of thinking. I like to tell people, they tell me how I feel politically, is like, I don't have a political view. I fight for your right to have that political view, or I fought for you to have that political view. Okay, I'm still in the fight. I love this stuff. It's hard to let go. But that's been my biggest challenge. And one of the big, I'm sure everyone else has the same issue, is just trying to keep a proper decorum inside of your forums. Well, I'm pretty sure most of the senior groups probably are pretty on key. But as you get lower down into the lower enlisted or lower rankings, the maturity level needs to be brought up some. And you're dealing with immature leaders that aren't really understanding the gravitas of the position that they're in. And so you have to understand that you're talking to a bigger audience. Whether it's a team or it's a brigade or a division, you're talking to a specific audience, and it's not just your personal opinion about something that's just going to be set in stone in that particular point. It's going to resonate then the fourth people are going to hear what you're saying. So we want to make sure that leaders are aware of what they're saying, making sure that they're clear and concise in their context, but at the same time, making sure we're steering folks away from retaliation. I think that's been our biggest challenge.
All right. Jimmy.
Yeah, so I had a recent experience, I would say the last 30 days or so, that to me was a challenge, and from many perspectives. Typically, I don't play the games. I'll delete someone and be done with it. For those of you who've been through the academy or any kind of NCS, and I'm also doing a master's program at the same time, I don't have a lot of time to have these discussions, but I do find myself engaged in these because I'm always trying to invest in soldiers and other people. So in one particular instance, I had a young soldier, who made a comment that was a little off-putting, nothing big. I gave him a 24-hour mute, and I made a little comment to it. Can't be constructive. Don't comment. It was pretty light. This soldier decided to private message me and curse at me and say something along the lines of, I'll paraphrase this and keep it clean. Go, how about you F yourself, you effing F. And it was regarding my sexual orientation, right? So I immediately replied, and I tried to engage the soldier on a one-on-one. And then it became, and quite easily, and this is the kind of lesson that was learned, I think, not just by him, by everyone else, is in this day and age, your digital footprint is pretty big. And it's easy to start Googling and searching the white pages and whatnot, especially when you use your real name, and find out what unit exactly you are. And being at the academy, it's a quick message, hey, is anyone work or at this base? And all of a sudden, within literally 2 hours, I had the guys, the young soldiers, command sergeant major and unit information. And I messaged them like, look, we're going to have this discussion, or I can refer this to your sergeant major. Well, I did not know he was in the field, and I don't know if he'd been drinking or it's just one of these things where he felt like he had the digital ability, the distance to say what he wanted and not have repercussions. And so when I finally did engage with him, I gave him two options. Like, look, we can do this, or you can go and apologize on the page and express what you did and how it was wrong. And he did. He took that route, and unfortunately, and this is the lesson I learned, the repercussions, second, third order effects I always talk about, is that one of the members on there then took snapshots of what was on there and went to one of those meme pages. And now this soldier's information and was all over, perceptibly over the internet. And so he's messaging me back and saying, hey, I'm freaking out. My career's over, this and that. Part of me is thinking you made a bad choice. But at the same time, I was about like, okay, he's learned his lesson. I messaged that page and said, hey, can you please remove this? I removed it from the page that he posted his apology. He removed it. There was a lot of backlash in terms of like, why would you say things like this? This is why we have problems like this in the military today. This is unacceptable. And I think he learned his lesson. And then one of my other admins, actually a roommate with me, also took the time to put together digital hygiene and like the things you think before you type and post, and putting that out there. And I think it served as a greater message for others to understand, like what you put out there can have repercussions, especially when you are on a page that's associated with the military. The U.S. Army and DoD has policies in place that that you aren't always just out of uniform on these places and on these pages. So the lesson I learned was, there could be repercussions that soldier could have reacted poorly, thinking his career's over and catastrophize that situation. So I would definitely rethink how I would approach fixing that. In the end, I think it worked, but it was a lesson learned, I think, all the way around. So that's just one recent scenario. That was probably the most extreme that I have. There's others that are just minor, that are, that we've, I think, all seen on our pages, as far as people just writing things that are offensive for the sake of being offensive,
I can say, wow. Yeah. I can see where that digital footprint can really cause a problem. I think we've all seen something like that. Christy.
Yes. So I just want to point out on the 3ANS, I'm glad that we have the number of admins that we do, and we all get into a group message together and we discuss the hard problems together as one, instead of each individual of us making a hard decision and deleting the soldier right out, especially if it's on the fence of like, okay, we may do corrective action, give you a warning, mute you, but then we discuss all the options on what that soldier has done or that service member has done. So with us collaborating together and discussing the key points, hey, we think this soldier is this, and this, and so we come together as one. So I think that what makes it easier for us as a whole, instead of so difficult, because we don't just base it off of our emotional opinion as we want to type back into a message. We come together as one and discuss those situations. So that's what I wanted to bring light to.
Outstanding. Sergeant Green.
As Chrissy just mentioned, that's what I was going to bring light to as well. One of the things that I notice within our forum sometimes, and it's already been stated, is like content versus context, or the fact that when you type, it lacks tone. And sometimes people are easily offended or always on the defense, or, you think the latest update, but you're wrong. And when someone brings that to you, you don't want to be wrong, instead of just saying, I didn't know that, I overlooked it. So just understanding that, the biggest thing that I've personally learned from 3ANS was emotional intelligence, understanding my audience, understanding who's on this platform, and also understanding that, again, that digital footprint, I'm a part of other forums, and things like that. So if I'm out here acting crazy, but then I want you to come seek mentorship from me, it's like, wait, which one is she? Who am I getting? So that consistency. And that's something that we have on 3ANS, because oftentimes something can happen in an instant. And in that moment, you are upset, you are in your feelings, and you want to get it out. And we do allow that. But under that same comment, hey, I understand you're upset. I'm about to send you a private message. Check your others, because sometimes if we're not friends, it's going to go to that other message and you might not see it. So check your other message because I inboxed you. And again, that's where that direct and that on-the-spot correction comes in at. But it's not coming from a place of negativity. It's coming from a place where we want you to grow. So that is a big thing on the internet altogether, especially when it's things you don't agree with, that emotional intelligence. And we actually give classes on things like that. If we keep seeing a certain trend, okay, this is the negative thing that keeps coming up. This is what they complain about. This is what they complain about. But Sergeant Major Army has already said, this is what it is. Hey, this is the black and white. There's no gray. There's no in between. Here are your left and right parameters. So that's how we combat it. And again, it's plenty of times where we've actually, just like we're in this forum, video call, because some things, it's too much to type. We video call and we literally talk about it. We handle the situation.
I listen to everything you guys are saying, and it was missing when I was coming up. I had a lot of great leaders, but leaders reaching out, the platforms to able to do that, the anonymity in some cases to do that. This is just amazing. So we're coming up on almost an hour. What I'd like to know is, how can I assist you in spreading the word, building your community, and expanding your sphere of influence? What can I do? We're going to post this out on Mentor Military, but what else can I do?
I know I see Jimmy's got his hand up. I'm going to let him go first.
Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, so I think this is probably going to be unique to some things unique to the ACFT page. in terms of fitness, right? I think there is a mentorship and a leadership aspect of it. But for the rest of the pages, there's definitely going to be, a huge mentorship component in terms of developing, and mentoring soldiers at all levels. You got ID that Iron Diamonds, and I'm trying to be more involved with that. I think does a lot to that new first sergeant coming in, to have some tools, and some of these other communities, obviously, that are geared towards certain populations. I think the key message I think that I would want to get across is that if you want to get away from the hostile, attacking, belligerent communities that you see out there that are all about negativity and tearing people down, then this is not the place for you. These communities are about building people up, about developing ourselves, mind, body, and spirit, and that we are all trying to help each other become better than we were yesterday.
Outstanding. Harold, you popped in first.
Yes, thank you. For me, after I retired, I went into the, and I wanted to bring this up, one of the questions that you asked, but I served as a JROTC instructor at a high school. And being that I'm retired, I am not the subject matter expert as it was when I first came in. And so I rely on these platforms to be able to get the most current information available so I can share with my students, this is what it looks like. It looked different when I was in, but this is the current forecast, what you need to look at when you start considering joining any branch of service. I'm sending this my invitation out to 3ANS as well as Jimmy, as you as well, to hopefully use you guys as platforms for these students as well, because I think a little bit more than 60% of the students that actually join the military are actually female from our school. And so to have that, we have the luxury of having one female instructor on staff, but I think that being able to hear from the field is actually important for them to be able to understand the challenges that they're going to be facing, and the thing that they can actually see a real live person that overcame some of those challenges and became successful. And so I'm reaching my hand out, extending my hand out, that if any of you ladies would like to talk to some of our students, I wanted to open that up in my forum one day and say, hey, if you have time and you want to speak to young men and women who are considering joining the military, they can hear it from someone that's actively serving right now, and what their expectations are, what they're seeing in the field right now. So I really wanted to do this to be able to extend this out even to that group of kids who, because a lot of them, they don't know what they want to do as they're getting close.
Harold, you froze up. All right, we'll jump over to Sergeant Green real quick, and we'll let Harold finish up when he pops back in.
So one thing that I could think of is, I know this video will go out, but also if we could write it down, like the forms, the name of the forms, so people could try to join them across the board with all these forms. The thing that I can say without a shadow of a doubt, we're all servant leaders. We all understand. We all have been there. Like I tell my soldiers oftentimes, like, hey, I'm like y'all. I started from the bottom. Now I'm here. I started off as a private. And I've been doing this thing for 18 years. I'm considered millennial, but I still came in when we had BDUs. I was confused putting my summer and winters on, mixing my uniform up. It's been through a whole bunch of uniform changes. So sometimes just that relatability. I haven't come so far from private that I'm too good to pick up a broom, too good to help you clean up, too good for air beautification. That's not who we are. I think if that list is out there as well as this explanation, that way more people have the resources. We're always saying put stuff in your toolkit. Well, this is something I can print out, and as I can carry it with me. And guess what? When Sergeant Green retires and everyone else retires, there's going to be people that replace us. That's what we're doing. We're building others to replace us. So these foundations are always going to be there. So I just think a reference page or a way to post it every now and then, like, hey, if you need the following things, these are the forms that are available. I think that would be awesome.
I know that I spoke with Rena, and we're going to put some links to Ask on our Ask Top page to all of your forums. But could somebody write down the links for me for all of your activities so I can put them in the description below? Would somebody volunteer to do that for me?
So are you asking links for each individual page?
Yes.
I can do mine because I don't have everyone's links. I think if we all individually put our links in the chat, that way it'll be a little bit easier than one person trying to do it.
Okay, I'll try and capture the chats because I'm a little slow with this new technology stuff. Tyrone?
I think what you're doing here, Mark, is actually great by allowing us to come together and discuss everything as a group. I think what it also showcases is that all of us is like 2 or 3 degrees of separation between all of us. Like between all these different groups, we do collaborate a lot behind the scenes. I oftentimes refer members who may be Iron Diamonds to 3ANS, or hey, have you looked at the ACFT page or the NCO support forum or Lead from the Front? I lead them to these other forums just to basically ensure that the soldier can hit that different group that will be able to address their needs. So I think between what you're doing and what we're doing behind the scenes, I think that we will continue to grow all of our forums, and I like that we continue to support one another.
Outstanding. I'll do everything I can to help you guys out. Kendra.
So last year we had the honor of the SMA doing an LPD within certain groups, and 3ANS was honored to be a part of that. What I would like to see more, and I'm not sure if you're able to help, is different leaders that we work across, doing that networking and being able to have various leaders of different echelons, of different CMFs, to be able to have those intimate conversations within the groups, because then it's more of a controlled environment, more so than if it's just a big army. Everybody in the army can be able to be a part of it. What I think that'll also do is that will show that there's relevancy in these groups beyond someone just popping up a Facebook group and saying, hey, we want to provide another space. Because we all know that there are some spaces that, in my opinion, are a little bit toxic, right? But they come under the premise of we're NCOs. All of these groups are absolutely amazing. And if there's some way that we can get more people within the Army and spheres of influence to be a part, to show relevancy to it, then it becomes more and it grows. And then that means that's not just 3ANS growing, but that's the ACFT growing, that's Lead from the Front growing. All of these avenues will be able to continue to grow. And as everyone's previously stated, we do all work hand in hand together. So if that's something that you'd be able to assist us with, I think it would help each collective group.
Absolutely. Christy?
Yes. So basically everyone hit it on the head to see like what we would like for you to do for us, Mark, to get our groups out there. Harold, I just wanted to point out you're ROTC instructor, right? So basically, or if you're trying to put out to the students, for those who can't join 3ANS because they're not in the military as of yet, or they don't know what branch of service they want to join, we also have another group called Women's Military Network. And they can join that group, whatever branch across, all females, and they can get into that group, whether they're lower enlisted, officer, retired, they can be. So I'll go ahead and put that link in there as well.
Hey, so just real quick, I noticed that our kids are not Facebook inclined. Facebook is for what they call the boomers. That's what they call us, So, but my intent was to get women like yourself and Sergeant Green and Sergeant Ford to make yourself available at some particular point and be able to talk to these young ladies, you know what I'm saying, and get share your experiences with them and let them know that, hey, I got cut off I just wanted to put this, and I'm not trying to steal anybody's thunder. I just wanted to share that part. I think it's important. Is that I have young ladies that are discouraged because of the Fort Hood incident. I have parents that are discouraged from letting their daughters join the military because of the Fort Hood experience. And so, and trying to tell them from a man's perspective is very, very difficult, because they see it as a male-centric organization. And so I'm looking at it, and I'm a mansplaining everything to them. And so being able to have female leaders, to be able to discuss and saying, hey, this is how I combated it, or to let them know that, hey, I was in this, but I was able to avert that, and I was able to succeed and be successful, and now help prevent this very cancer that we have inside of our formation. And so that was my extent to you ladies, was to be able to, would you make yourself open to be able to talk to some of the young ladies? Because Facebook is like MySpace to them for us, just to give us some equivalency.
So yes, Harold, I can make myself, I'm available at any time. Sometimes I do mentor and talk to different high school students on a Teams forum like this to give them perspective on the cybersecurity world of coming into the military. So yes, I can make myself available for that.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We have covered a lot of information. I've been really impressed with everything you guys are doing. As we start to wrap up, does anybody have a parting shot they'd like to share? Any information? I'm sorry, Tyrone, I missed you. I apologize.
I'm sorry. Just one other thing I wanted to add. Just one other thing that I want to stress is all of us as admin and moderators, obviously, we believe in the power of using the internet and Facebook to push knowledge and information out. All of us here as admins and moderators, we're doing this voluntarily. We're taking our own time to turn around and work on this. And so we would like members to understand that we believe in this as being an actual medium to get the word out. So we're here for them. And as long as they can understand that, they can reach out to us. None of us is getting any kind of benefit from this. I can't make E10. My point is to help others. And so if they actually understand that we're all coming from a good place and that we are there to help them, I think getting that word out will help with all of our groups and with our groups. But I also noticed, unlike some of those other toxic groups, we don't care about numbers. It's really about quality over quantity. So they can come to us, they can join our groups, and they will get quality mentorship. And as many others have alluded to, if they don't want to go into that group, they're more than welcome to hit us up in a private message. I spent too many times and too many hours helping out soldiers from another part of the world that I don't even freaking know because they asked me for help. And if they ask me for help, I'm going to help them. And I know everyone else here feels the same way. That's all I have. Thanks, Mark.
Hey, I appreciate everybody being on. Anybody else got some alibi fire?
I got one shot, Sergeant Major. I just want to make sure that we recognize Charmaine Rayner. She wasn't able to participate today. I don't know if you were going to do that, but she is like the direct link to like all of us. She is probably has a playing hand in all of these groups. And so if this is being broadcast, I just want to make sure that she gets her just deserves on that. She is a very instrumental part in a lot of these groups, and her, it should be noteworthy that she's recognized.
Yeah, when I talked to her, I had no clue the footprint she had. And looking at all these groups, I was just amazed. She has done so much for the mentoring community. Anybody else? I've got Kendra.
I'd just like to say that there are so many members in all of our groups, and a lot of the members aren't vocal, but I guarantee you they're watching and they're listening and they're hearing. So we have to continue to make sure that our impact is matching our intent, which we're doing an amazing job of that. And I just hope that we continue on that trajectory at each and every group here. There's so many soldiers that I have no clue who these young men and women are, and they'll see me, and especially young women, if I saw them forward, I know you, I've heard of you, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't think I've ever met you before. No, but I saw what you wrote in the group. And they see what the other people and the value that we're adding as NCOs. And this is just another medium, as it was stated. And all this really goes back to is the tenets of the NCO charge that we take when we become NCOs. This is just another way that we're able to go about getting the word out, coaching, teaching, and mentoring. And I think that all of these platforms are amazing, and I look forward to seeing them grow further.
Well, I'm going to do everything I can to help that happen. I am very impressed with all of you, whether that counts for anything or not. The mentorship that is out there from what you provide is something that we didn't have in our day and age. We had it, but we didn't have it accessible like it is today from people that we can reach out to outside of our sphere. Because usually when we reached out with questions in our sphere, sometimes we were chastised for it. Now we have these safe spaces because of you. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. And team, if you're looking for a place, safe place to ask questions, to get some answers, reach out to these groups. Iron Diamonds, 3ANS, ACFT, Senior Leaders Network, Iron Diamond. And I believe one more was mentioned, Women's Military Network. Team, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We've covered a lot of self-development resources that help with mentoring, coaching, teaching, and training. And this is a great opportunity. I've got links below for you. And as we start to wrap up, please follow us on Ask Top and Mentor Military on Facebook. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you're looking for self-development products, please feel free to visit us at mentormilitary.com. Until next time, stay safe and stay healthy.